Good morning, 8th grade. Hope you're doing well. So today I want us to look at some more examples on map scales and area. Do some more practice. And I'm going to show you a simpler method that you can use to figure these things out. So just to remind you, yesterday what we were doing is, so for a question like this yesterday, what we did was to first find the linear scale factor or the map scale. And in this question, it says 1 centimeter represents 1 kilometer. So the map scale is 1 centimeter to 1 kilometer. And as I was saying earlier, today I want to show you a new method, hopefully simpler for you. But if you still want to stick to the old one, that's fine. So what we did yesterday was we would have to make sure that this scale is in the same unit, and you change kilometers to centimeters. So that would be 100,000 centimeters, right? That would be the map scale, or what we call the linear scale factor in math. I hope you remember what that means. That's just the ratio of the distances. So then after this, we would find the area of this rectangular field. Oh, sorry, before that, after that, we would find the area scale factor, and the area scale factor is found by squaring the linear scale factor. So when I square that, I would have 1 to now 100,000 squared. This is why the method that I'm suggesting, you'll see that it's easier. 100,000 squared is a lot of zeros. So that's 1. And since this is 5 zeros, it's going to be 10 zeros. And I don't know how you write that on your calculator, but it's still correct, it still works, but there's a lot of zeros to deal with. So after having this area scale factor, which would now be in centimeters squared, I would find the area of the field. The area of the field is, according to this question, 3 times 4, which is 12 centimeters squared. So then I'll go back to my scale and ask, or try to use it to solve this problem. Because they want me to find the actual area of the rectangular field on the ground, I would ask myself, if 1 centimeter squared represents 1 and 10 zeros, centimeters squared on the ground, then how many centimeters squared does 12 represent? Or if 1 is 10,000, 1 and 10 zeros, I don't know how you read that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 10 billion. Then 12 would just be 12 times 10 billion. So that would be 12 times 10, 1 and 10 zeros. And then I would have to convert this back to kilometers squared. Converting it to kilometers squared means I would divide by 100,000 squared. So 100,000 is 10 zeros. So basically all of these zeros would die out when I divide. And then I'll just end with 12 kilometers squared, right? That's the method we were using yesterday. But I hope you can see that because of the zeros that are involved in squaring big numbers, it's a bit cumbersome or difficult to use. So what I'm proposing today is the alternative method, where you first look at the area of your final answer. So this question is asking you to find the actual area of the rectangular field and actual area of the field that's needed in kilometers squared. So that's your final answer. That's the area of the final answer. Once you figure out what the unit of the final answer is, right? Once you figure out what the unit of the final answer is, then make sure your scale, your map scale, is comparing those units. So now I know that my final answer is in kilometers squared. My map scale is initially 1 centimeter to 1 kilometer, right? I want to make sure that my map scale stays in those units because kilometers is the units of the final answer. So again, this is the linear scale factor. To get the area scale factor, all I have to do is square this linear scale factor. And if I square 1 squared, centimeter squared, and I also square the other side, 1 squared kilometer squared. So basically 1 centimeter squared represents 1 kilometer squared. I already don't have to deal with the 10 zeros that I had at this stage, the equivalent stage. Now this is my area scale factor. So then I'll go and find the area of the field in centimeters squared, which is 4 times 3, which is 12 centimeters squared. And then I'll try to use that area with that scale, with the new scale that compares centimeters and kilometers squared. So then I'll ask myself, if 1 centimeter squared represents 1 kilometer squared, then how many kilometers squared does 12 centimeters squared represent? You can put an X there, and if you want to cross multiply, you can cross multiply, but since this scale is easy, it's pretty straightforward that if 1 centimeter represents 1 kilometer squared, then 12 centimeters squared will surely represent 12 kilometers squared. So that's your answer, 12 kilometers squared. So yeah, I hope you can see that this is an easier method, and I hope you can pick it up and try to use it. It's the one I'm going to use in the next example, so you'll get to see some more of it. So for now, you can say goodbye to this first method. I know you loved it too much and you're going to cry, but it's okay. It was fun. Okay, moving on. On a map scale of 1 to 50,000, find the map area in centimeters squared, right, of a football field whose actual area is that many kilometers squared. Okay, so they want me to find the map scale, the map area in centimeters squared, but they've given me an area in kilometers squared. So the final answer is needed in centimeters squared. However, this scale is in centimeters squared, and this distance is in kilometers squared. What I need to do away with is the many zeros. So I'm going to change this scale, because currently the scale is 1 centimeter to 50,000 centimeters, but I want it to compare centimeters to kilometers, because I don't want to deal with the many zeros. So I'll instead make it say 1 centimeter to, instead of 50,000 centimeters, I'm going to change that 50,000 centimeters to kilometers. And I hope you guys remember that centimeters to kilometers is dividing by 100,000. You divide by 100, then you divide by 1,000. So if I divide 50,000 by 100,000, 50,000 by 100,000, I get 0.5. So that's 0.5 kilometers. This is my linear scale factor. If I want the area scale factor, I am going to square everything. Square 1, I get 1 squared, centimeters squared. I will square the 0.5 kilometers squared. Alright, so let me just check what 1 squared is, because I might not know what 1 squared is. 1 times 1, 1. Okay. Next, I want to check what 0.5 squared is. 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. So now my scale is 1 centimeter squared represents 0.25 kilometers squared. So I have my scale down comparing kilometers squared to centimeters squared, which is what's needed. So what you need to now find is the area on the map. So you're asking yourself, what area on the map in centimeters squared is represented by 0.0032 kilometers squared? To do this, we can cross multiply. Some of you, you can see at this stage that all you have to do is divide 0.032 by 0.25, but for the rest of us, we need to take things slowly and cross multiply, so that's absolutely fine. So I cross multiply and say 1 times 0.032 gives me 0.032, sorry, 2 zeros, 0.0032 equals 0.25 times x is 0.25x. Then I'll divide by 0.25. I'll divide by 0.25, and then I end up with my x is equal to 0.0032. 0.0032 divided by 0.25 is 0.014 centimeters squared. So yeah, that's how that one is done. I hope it was clear enough. Oh, and I hope you can see that this makes the process easier. And I know you're not happy with this decimal answer, neither am I, but I should have changed this number before starting the question, but that's okay. It's a decimal answer and it's a correct answer. Okay, another example. A parking lot measures 0.8 kilometers by 1.5 kilometers and is represented on a map whose scale is 1 to 20,000. What is the area of the parking lot on the map? Again, we have kilometers and we have centimeters because the scale is in centimeters. All I need to do is write the scale in a way that it compares centimeters to kilometers. So the scale is currently 1 centimeter to 20,000 centimeters, but I want it to compare centimeters to kilometers, so I'll change this 20,000 kilometers, centimeters, I'll change it to kilometers, and that is done by dividing by 100,000. So 20,000 divided by 100,000 gives you 0.2. So I have 0.2 kilometers. That is simply the linear scale factor or the map scale, just that it compares centimeters to kilometers. However, I want that to be an area scale. And remember, to get the area scale factor, you square the linear scale factor. So I'll square everything here. 0.2 squared kilometers squared. I need to square everything. Do not forget to square the numbers, because that's an easy mistake to make. So again, I hope you remember that 1 squared is 1. Wonderful. And 0.2 squared, who can guess? 0.2 squared is 0.04. So now this compares centimeters to kilometers. It compares centimeters to kilometers, right? So next step is to ask myself, what is the area of this parking lot that's being talked about in kilometers? The area of that parking lot is, let me do that in blue because I want kilometers to stay blue. The area of that parking lot is 0.8 times 1.5, and that is 0.8 times 1.5 is 1.2 kilometers squared. So now I just need to compare. If 1 centimeter squared represents 0.04 kilometers squared, then how many centimeters squared will be represented by 1.2 kilometers squared? That's the question. Again, cross multiply. I hope you can see that cross multiplication is an option. I cross multiply and I have 1.2 times 1 is just 1.2 is equal to x times 0.04 is 0.04x, and then I divide by 0.04. When I divide by 0.04, my answer is going to be x is equal to 1.2 divided by 0.04, and that is 1.2 divided by 0.04 is 30. So x is 30. What's the unit? Well, let's see. It's on the map, so it's 30 centimeters squared. You can also look at the units from here. This x, you want it to be, it's expected to be in centimeters squared because it's on the right side. So when I cross multiply, the kilometers cancels out and the unit that I have left is the centimeters. So yeah, that's how you do that. Okay, last example. On Google Maps, 1.6 centimeters on the map represents 1,000 kilometers on the actual ground. Express this scale in the form 1 centimeter to r kilometers. Okay, so it says 1.6, let me use a different color, blue. It says 1.6 centimeters represents 1,000 kilometers. Since it's already centimeters to kilometers, and the question wants 1 to something kilometers, I'm just going to divide by 1.6. By 1.6. So it's 1 centimeters to, let's check what's 1,000 divided by 1.6. 1.6 is 625. So that's 625 kilometers. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I wanted. That's part A, and now part B. Actually, we can go ahead and skip part B, but it can be extra credit for those of you who can figure it out and do it. So if you want some extra credit, 5 points which you can claim on any test in the future, do part B and add it to your submission. But I am going to skip it because I am running out of time for this video. I don't want your videos to be too long. Alright, so I want you guys to do these questions. They're from your textbook on page, I think it's page 9. I think it's page 9. Let's see. It is page, it's page 9. Yeah, pages 9 to 10 of the textbook. And then turn them in. Alright,